It's Tuesday again, and I would like to hang with you lads, but I'm off to listen to the new episode of the Slaven Selection Show. Play now or stay in dark forever.
I must disappoint you, my dear listeners. The Zamboni was originally invented in California, not Canada. You may now stop arguing that the NHL teams Las Vegas Knights and Anaheim Ducks are absurd. You're gonna say, what's next, Honolulu? Well, Stingrays are taken, so what is going to be, surfers? Well, on the other side, it's odd that Norway doesn't have a better hockey team given its wealth and geographic location. But this is about Canada. As the Royal Canadian Air Force commemorates its 100th birthday on Canada Day, visitors and residents of Ottawa will be treated to a unique air show. Some have referred to the Centennial Flypast on Canada Day as a parade in the sky. The approximately 20-minute program features aircraft from the Air Force past, such as CC-177 Globemaster, CC-330 Husky, and CT-156 Harvard II. The Canadian Forces Snowbirds fly the CT-114 Tutor, one of the smaller aircraft, and the famous CF-18 Hornet is another. I have to be honest with you, it is I don't know how to put it. It is a depressing celebration, in my honest view. Well, with the Ever Arrow, the Great White North once led the world in aviation. And today, we honor this wonderful heritage with, please refrain from calling it flagships, U.S. Hornets. How about that? A few days ago, one of my all-time favorite performers, Donald Sutherland, passed away. His shrieking in The Invasion of the Body Snatchers from 1978, when I was 9 years old, is still ingrained in my nightmares. At that time, every horror film I ever seen was permanently etched in my memory. Cliff Mackinson deserves more recognition as well. He was a personal friend of mine, and he was in several early 1990s films, including Psycho Pike and Dear John. He appeared on cinema and in the theater. Also, Cliff was the most compassionate and understanding person I have ever encountered. There are many others, of course. Christopher Plummer is regarded as the ultimate Canadian chameleon because of his decades-long career of remarkable versatility. He received an Oscar for Beginners for his performances in classic roles like as Captain Von Trapp in The Sound of Music. Known for his humorous parts and physical humor, Jim Carrey has been in so many movies that I can't even count, and such as Ace Ventura, The Mask, and Dumb and Dumber. Michael J. Fox is regarded as one of the most well-known and prosperous actors in Canada. He's well known for his parts in one of my top 10 favorite sci-fi movies, Back to the Future trilogy, as well as the TV series like Family Ties and Spin City. Then Ryan Gosling is well known for his diverse roles in movies such as La La Land and phenomenal Drive. Drive is just almost a perfect movie, and the soundtrack is out of this world. And also The Notebook. On the other hand, Dan Aykroyd is a legendary comedian best known for his work on Saturday Night Live, Ghostbusters, and The Blues Brothers. Yeah, he's also known for seeing UFOs in Montreal from what I remember. Then John Candy, known for his humorous parts in movies such as Cool Runnings, Uncle Buck, and Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. Catherine O'Hara, well known for her comedic roles, especially in movies starring Christopher Guest and the television series Schitt's Creek, which I don't find funny at all for some reason, but that's just me, I guess. Keanu Reeves, star of movies like Speed and Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, as well as popular franchises like The Matrix and John Wick. Then Ryan Reynolds, renowned for his comedic timing and parts in movies such as The Proposal, Deadpool, and Free Guy. And how can we possibly forget about phenomenal Michael Ironside? Like, he's just another one of my favorite actors. Yeah. So when I think of best Canadian movies, I cannot help thinking of a legendary Videodrome from 1983, then Screamers, and The Cube, of course. Some other sources believe that the best Canadian movies are Atanurjat, The Fast Runner, which was at the top spot of the Toronto's Toronto's International Film Festival list of the best Canadian films. And then Mon Oncle Antoine, which was directed by Claude Jutra, I think. And this coming-of-age drama set in 1940s Quebec has regularly regarded as one of the best Canadian films of all time. Oh, interesting. I haven't seen it yet. On my list. It's an epic retelling of an ancient Inuit mythology with magnificent photography. Then there is The Sweet Afterlife, and this highly regarded film about the aftermath of a school bus disaster, directed by Ato Megorian, is featured on numerous best-of lists. Then Jesus of Montreal, the film by Dennis Arcand, which follows a troupe of actors as they perform an unusual passion play, is also well known. And another movie that I like to watch from time to time, which is Eastern Promises, and this Cronenberg film is a criminal thriller that is situated in London. Then there is a crazy, the F word, dead ringers going down the road, and so on and so on. So Canada's music, oh boy, I could go on forever, but let's just say that you probably assumed Mylène Farmer was French, even though she's originally Canadian. Then phenomenal DOA, Crystal Castles, The Guess Who, Black Mountain, Young Galaxy, Transex, The Tragically Hip, Bare Naked Ladies, The Creep Show, yes, great Creep Show, and or Walk of the Earth, then Prairie Oyster, Arcade Fire, Nickelback, The Tea Party, Cowboy Junkies, Deadmau5, Lime. Oh yeah, Canadian disco was huge in the 80s. Also Men Without Hats, Martha and the Muffins, Caribou, Chromeo, Choclair, DJ Trust also, or Chris France, who is also my good friend. And by the way, I'm just saying, I have to brag. Then Leonard Cohen, Neil Young, Johnny Mitchell, Rush, Celine Dion, Drake, Justin Bieber, The Weeknd, Bryan Adams, Shania Twain, Avril Lavigne, Michael Bublé, Alanis Morissette, and so on. It goes on and on and on. I probably forgot to mention a lot of influential bands, but I have to move on. What else is great about Canada? Well, Superman. Despite not being a native of Canada, Superman has a number of important connections there. Toronto-born Canadian artist Joseph Schuster was the co-creator of Superman. Schuster was inspired to create the character and his universe by his Canadian heritage. Actually, Schuster based Superman's imaginary city Metropolis on Toronto, and Schuster's portrayal of Metropolis was influenced by Toronto's skyline and metropolitan setting. I wonder what would Schuster say today. Apparently, Toronto is the fastest growing city in North America. I don't know. So it would be a little different, right? So Toronto Star, where Schuster formerly worked as a newspaper delivery boy, served as the model for the Daily Planet newspaper in Superman comics. And key parts in Superman adaptations have been portrayed by numerous Canadian actors. Born in Yellowknife, Margot Kidder portrayed Lois Lane in 4 Superman motion pictures. And Quebec native Glenn Ford portrayed Jonathan Kent in the 1978 Superman movie. I really liked the movie when I was a kid, but that's actually, the movie is really bad, I have to say. Oh well. In the television series Smallville, Albertan Erica Durrance and British Columbian Aaron Ashmore played Lois Lane and Jimmy Olsen respectively. Canada has been the site of several Superman-related film and television productions, such as the Toronto-based Hollywoodland and the British Columbia-based Smallville TV series. Over the years, several Canadian artists have contributed to Superman comics such as Stuart Immonen, Dennis Rodier, and Tom Grummett. Superman's Canadian ties have been welcomed by Canada, as seen by the release of commemorative coins by the Royal Canadian Mint and superhero stamps by Canada Post. In actuality, Canadian inventions are not from that country. So, which are they? So, the following are some instances of inventions that are frequently falsely credited to Canada. The telephone. Well, Alexander Graham Bell was actually born in Scotland and worked on the device for the bulk of his life in the United States, though he did some of his research there as well. When it comes to basketball, although James Naismith, the game's creator, was born in Canada, he created basketball while employed at the YMCA training school in Springfield, Massachusetts, United States. The light bulb was primarily invented by Thomas Edison in the United States, despite the fact that many other innovators contributed to its growth. The modern zipper was created in 1913 by Swedish-American engineer Gideon Sandbach while he was employed in the United States, despite claims to the contrary. Peanut butter, well, Dr. Ambrose Schraub created the contemporary form of peanut butter in St. Louis, Missouri in 1890, despite Marcellus Gilmore Adson of Quebec having patented peanut paste in 1884. Then the paint roller, although Torontonian Norman Breakey is frequently given credit for creating it, he actually never received a patent for it. Then AM radio. Reginald Fessenden made a great deal of contributions to radio technology, although he's not completely responsible for its creation. And it's actually worldwide a large number of inventors helped with its development. Frederick Banting is best known for his co-discovery of insulin in 1921, along with Charles Best, which revolutionized the treatment of diabetes. He was awarded the Nobel Prize in Physiology of Medicine in 1923 for this life-saving discovery. Donna Strickland is a pioneering laser physicist who co-invented chirp pulse amplification, a technique that underpins contemporary high-intensity laser system. She became the third woman to win the Nobel Prize in Physics in 2018. And Arthur MacDonald led the Sudbury Neutrino Observatory experiment, which provided crucial evidence for neutrino oscillations and proved that neutrinos have mass. Bertram Brockhaus won the 1994 Nobel Prize in Physics for his pioneering work in developing neutron spectroscopy techniques, which enabled the study of condensed matter at the atomic level. And Roberta Bondar was the first Canadian woman and the world's first neurologist to fly in space. She conducted experiments on the 1992 Space Shuttle Discovery mission to study the effects of microgravity on the human body. Then another, I would say, legendary figure from Canada is David Suzuki, who is an activist, a geneticist, and academic. He hosted the long-running CBC television science program, The Nature of Things, and co-founded the David Suzuki Foundation to promote sustainability. Another, like a similar figure, I would say, is Captain Paul Watson, who founded Sea Shepherd Conservation Society in 1977. Well, Paul Watson is an activist best known for founding as I have said, the Sea Shepherd Conservation Society, and he was born on December 2nd, 1950 in Toronto, Ontario. Watson grew up in St. Andrews by the Sea, New Brunswick. And from a very young age, he showed a strong affinity for protecting wildlife, often interfering with hunters and trappers. In the late 1960s, Watson joined the Canadian Coast Guard and gained sailing experience with various merchant marine organizations. He was an early member of Greenpeace International, where he employed daring tactics to defend wildlife from hunters. Ursula Franklin was a pioneering materials scientist who made significant contributions to the understanding of the structure and behavior of materials. She was also a prominent advocate for social responsibility in science and technology. And these are just few examples of the many brilliant Canadian scientists who have left a mark on their respective fields and advanced human knowledge through their groundbreaking research and discoveries. The snowmobile was invented by Joseph Armand Bombardier in 1937. Then there is, of course, something that comes up very often in my podcast, the Canadarm, a robotic manipulator arm used on NASA space shuttles, which was developed by staff at Spar Aerospace in 1981. And believe it or not, the world's first road lines were painted on a highway between Ontario and Quebec in 1930 by John D. Miller. The variable pitch aircraft propeller was invented by Wallace Rupert Turnbull in 1918. And there's the invention of the modern alkaline battery, which is very important, by Louis Urey in the 1950s. And of course, the development of the first external pacemaker by engineers John Hobbs and Wilfred Bigelow in 1950. Well, I already mentioned Mr. Bell, but another thing that was really big, like Nokia in Finland, there was BlackBerry in Canada, and I don't know what happened, because I would totally get one if this phone was still like the same way it was before. But no such luck. Well, we all know about Canadarm and Chris Hadfield and Roberta Bonder, right? So, from a European standpoint, of course, but I'm not talking about the European Space Agency now. But one thing that sets Canada apart is that it produces some of the world's best bicycles, and Da Vinci, Rocky Mountain, and Orco are just a few of them. Well, before the United States took over the globe, the Russell Motor Car Company had a significant role in the creation of the legendary Jeep Willys during World War II. Well, again, for my part, I'll never get past Avro Arrow and BlackBerry's demise. These days, Canadians are recognized for their niceness and hospitality, multiculturalism, ice hockey, and maple syrup. Instead, I want more science and technology. Our gold reserves are depleted, and in the absence of the U.S., we cannot ensure that our resources will be protected, particularly in light of our hostile neighbors. We have coal, natural gas, oil, and potash. Canada is the world's top producer of all three. More gold, platinum, uranium, aluminium, and cobalt need to be extracted. Canada is one of the top 5 producers in the world, and its several provinces are home to additional minerals including zinc, lead, asbestos, and gypsum, not to mention its abundant water supply. Canada possesses a vast amount of freshwater resources, such as lakes, rivers, and farmland. Large tracts of fertile land can be found across the nation, especially in the Central Plains region. There is no doubt that we require greater protection than just Canadian rangers, particularly in light of the near certainty of resource conflicts in the Arctic region in the future. Perhaps my outlook is overly negative. Perhaps all will be well if the Big Red Empire begins to consume Mary Jane like the rest of us, and experiences, love, peace, and all that jazz. Perhaps. But I remain skeptical and advise us to continue being careful about our objectives. Let's hope for better news everywhere till the next Canada Day. And regarding the invasion by friendly Canadians, I support Turk and Caicos, a shared, unfulfilled dream. Until then, place another bottle of whiskey on Hans Island and cross your fingers for better weather till we invade our friendly Caribbean pals. Enjoy your summer. And yes, be picky about who you spend it with. Stay selective. Bye-bye.